I missed a lot of big announcements that came out over the last week, so let's catch up on Super Dario news. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
So it is day 2 of me recording audio while I try to do the podcast. Recording audio, I'm an idiot. Recording video. I'm already flustered. No, it's day 2 of me recording video while I'm doing the podcast. Yesterday, just as I expected, it was a gigantic pain in the butt to edit it because I hate editing video. However, I did see a few things that I could improve, and I'm going to keep testing it out today. It's still nowhere near close being ready for me to actually load it that way, but I'm trying my best here, people. I'll try. Hopefully, I believe that by the end of the week, I may get it done. It's a lot of work. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be the recorder. I'm going to be the cameraman, the recorder, the sound guy, the producer, the talent, the host. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to be wearing a lot of hats, plus the editor. So I want to make this as streamlined as possible. For those of you who are asking, dude, why are you doing this to yourself? The answer to that is probably because I need a challenge. I'm bored and I want a challenge. I want to challenge myself, see how much I can do, how much I can get done. And also, perfecting certain skills. It'll get easier as time goes on. The podcast has gotten a lot easier for me as I've been doing it. Overall, I don't know if I've gotten better at it, but I think it's gotten easier for sure. So that's a big difference right there, I think. But things have been getting easier so far, and I did see a lot of room for progress on the way that I could do things. I also found some software that some people recommended. Thank you very much for that. It's been very useful. I'm testing it out today, so hopefully it'll work out. But let me give you a quick reminder of where you can find me. You can find the podcast on the iHeartRadio app. Just type in The Show Presents Super Dario World. And also you can find it on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes as Super Dario World Podcast. You can find it right there. Still no changes on anything else. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. I love when people reach out. They give me great ideas. They give me great feedback. It's nice to hear if what I'm doing is working out, especially now that I'm undergoing the video things. I can't tell you how many people reached out yesterday saying like, yes, thank you. We need visual components for the stupid rewrite of Game of Thrones. It's really hard to follow. I know it's really hard to follow. That's one of the big reasons why I started doing this. This is one of the reasons why I challenged myself to do it. But hopefully it'll work out and you guys will enjoy it. But okay, let's get to Super Dario news. So, the first thing that came down over the weekend is, or actually last week too, it came down over the last 10 days, okay? Veronica Mars was announced to be returning back to TV. Well, it's going to be back on Hulu. For those of you who didn't know this, yeah, Veronica Mars is coming back. This one hit me by surprise. I heard that they were making a movie. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Veronica Mars is a TV show about a girl who basically is a private detective, and she's trying to solve the murder mystery of her best friend. So, it lasted 3 seasons on UPN. It was canceled, and then it was brought back in 2013 via, a crowdfunding campaign to make a movie. It was a Kickstarter campaign, I'm sorry. And they managed to bring it back. The show stars Kristen Bell, who you may know now from The Good Place. It was actually a pretty decent show. It was filmed right here in San Diego, sweet sunny San Diego, so it did a lot for the industry here. I do not believe that the new show was recorded here or not. I don't know. I'll have to check. But point is, Veronica Mars will be coming back. Season 4 will be on Hulu, and it'll air on July 26th. There's a trailer out. Check it out. It looks okay. I mean, I can't... All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really like the trailer. I think they went too high stakes on it, and Veronica Mars was kind of smaller. But what can you do? I'm a guy who doesn't really like characters going into crazy places if it doesn't really fit for them. Like, I'll give you an example right now. Apparently there's bombings going on in her hometown, and that's why she has to go back and try to solve that because it's killing the tourism and all that stuff. In the real world, if there's bombings going on somewhere, the FBI would be there, like, really, really quickly. Homeland Security would be there really quickly. So Veronica Mars having to take that on, I don't know. It seems kind of shady, but the show was really good. It was beloved for a reason. Kristen Bell is really likable in that show. So I'll check it out anyway. Apparently, all the seasons are now on Hulu, so it's a fun watch. But okay, that's it for that one. Let's move on to, this was a big one. This was actually a P1's request. The trailer for Dr. Sleep just came out. Now, Dr. Sleep is a novel from Stephen King, and it's the sequel to The Shining. So the movie starts Ewan McGregor, who you may remember from the Star Wars prequels. He played Obi-Wan Kenobi. Arguably the best part of the prequels, him and Natalie Portman. Anyway, so the movie stars him as an older Danny Torrance, who was the kid in The Shining. So the trailer looks really creepy. I don't know why there's a thing going on right now about remaking Stephen King movies, but we're not really necessarily remaking them, but making films out of Stephen King books. But I don't hate him. Dude's a great writer, and it's finding financial success. I believe we have the technology now for it to make it actually very creepy. So if they're going to be faithful to the book, which I've heard is really good, I haven't read this book. I'll be honest with you. To me, Stephen King starts and ends with The Dark Tower. The Dark Tower is where I live. That's one of my favorite sagas of all time. I highly recommend it. The movie's terrible, by the way. I'm looking forward to see what they do with the TV show. Actually, I'm not. I don't think they can make it into a TV show. It's too complicated. But anyway, that was a quick side note. The movie sucked, but I haven't read most of Stephen King's books because, honestly, I hadn't even heard of Dr. Sleep. I hadn't. I saw The Shining, I saw the movie, and once you've seen the movie, reading the book, it does complement stuff, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it loses a little bit because I already know how it ends. I already know how everything's going to end, so it does lose a little. But since I haven't read Dr. Sleep and haven't read The Shining, now I'm really looking forward to this because it looks, from the trailer, it looks like they're trying to be very faithful to the original Shining, and they're sending a lot of throwback calls. What is it? Calls? And they're doing a lot of call-outs to the original movie, which is fantastic. It looks really good. Ewan McGregor is an amazing actor. I really like his work, so I'm looking forward to that. Moving on, the next big news. This actually came down today. Let me double check that. Yes, today. Marvel is making a last desperate attempt to make Avengers Endgame beat out Avatar in the box office. As of right now, the highest grossing film of all time is still James Cameron's Avatar. It made $2.788 billion, while Avengers Endgame sits at $2.743 billion. So it's beating it by like a few $40 million, give or take. And last weekend at the box office, it did not do that well. I mean, it's fallen. It looks really hard for it to catch up. So in order for it to catch up, well, they announced that they're going to do Kevin Feige. I believe that's one of the head honchos over there. Yeah, Kevin Feige. I got the right name. Okay, so he announced that they will be doing a re-release of Endgame before Spider-Man Far From Home comes out, and this one will be a little bit longer. So they'll add a bunch of deleted scenes. So there's now a big debate of what scenes are they going to add? Most people want for them to show a little bit more of the reunions. For example, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Rocket and Groot reuniting. They feel like that would be very emotional. While other people feel like, well, we need more Captain Marvel. Fuck Captain Marvel. Fuck Captain Marvel. That's what I think. I hated that character. She was stupid. She had nothing to do there. They tried to shoehorn her into the story. It didn't really make any sense. She did no work whatsoever. They never explained any of her powers. Nothing made sense. And her movie was stupid. One day I'll break it down probably. When I do the whole breakdown of the Marvel movies, which I'm still planning on doing, I just really fell behind because I started playing Red Dead Redemption. Anyway, so one day I will break all that down. But so far, I think that the most exciting thing would be the reunion scenes with a lot of the characters. I think that would be very emotional. It would be very emotional to watch how the excitement of seeing characters get back together. Maybe drag out a little bit more the Tony Stark funeral or the consequences of that. It'd be really good. I'd really enjoy it. Or maybe explain time travel a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe. Just a thought. I did read an article about that, but again, I'll cover that more once I do the whole Marvel Universe thing after I'm done with the rewrite of Game of Thrones and everything, okay? But yeah, point is, so far, Marvel's really, really shooting hard to get at the record. And, I mean, the movie's 3 hours long already. Adding more to it makes it harder. And if they cut that out, is probably for a reason. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I kind of want Avatar to keep the record now. I do. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that a standalone film at the time, it was a standalone movie, Avatar was a standalone movie, holds the record, and Avengers Endgame, which was 20 years in the making almost, and it took over 20 films, so much work, and it still hasn't been able to beat it. So I don't know why. I respect my boy James Cameron. I'm kind of enjoying that it's still number one. Anyway, moving on to some Game of Thrones news. HBO announced that the Game of Thrones prequel has now begun filming in Northern Ireland. Now, this is interesting for several reasons. Now we kind of have an idea of what the story is. So far, we only know that it's being created by Jane Goldman, who created the movie Kick-Ass, which was awesome, and she teamed up with George R. R. Martin, the author of the books, and we kind of know that it's being directed by S.J. Clarkson, who directed The Defenders for Netflix. He directed Jessica Jones. It's going to star Naomi Watts, who you may remember from Kong. You remember her from The Ring. She's kind of a big deal. And a couple of others who don't really matter. The big star of the show is going to be Naomi Watts. Anyway, and supposedly it's going to take place thousands and thousands of years before the events of A Game of Thrones. And other than that, we don't really know. So it's supposedly going to be about... Here's what they say. The series chronicles the world's descent from the golden age of heroes into into its darkest hour. And only one thing is for sure. From the horrifying secrets of Westeros' history to the true origin of the White Walkers, the mystery of the East to the Starks of Legends. It's not the story we think we know. So, apparently it's going to turn everything on its head. I don't know how. I'm hoping they finally explain something about the White Walkers. The only issue is that it doesn't really matter what happens with the White Walkers, how they were created, because at the end they were really useless. They were pointless. So, I'm looking forward to it. But the thing is, if they start shooting in Northern Ireland, then it gives us a little bit of an idea of where the story is going to take place. For example, Northern Ireland, they shot a bunch of the scenes of the woods on the King's Road from King's Landing to Winterfell. So that includes the Riverland. So we may see some of that. They also shot the scenes of the woods of the north. So you remember the scene where the Starks found the direwolves for the first time? That was shot in Northern Ireland. We also got a beach that was in Dragonstone where Melisandre and Stannis burned up all the old gods. That was shot in Northern Ireland. So we have an idea now of kind of where the stories are going to take place, and it's probably going to be on the north. It's weird. I expect there to be a little bit more from the rest of the Seven Kingdoms. No King's Landing, because King's Landing did not exist thousands of years in the past, but it still could be very interesting to see all that. I mean, I'm going to watch it. Who am I kidding? I'm going to watch it anyway. So, it's fun to kind of now have an idea of where it's going to be. Honestly, I expected there to be more Iceland. I expected there to be more stuff of the Lands of Always Winter, but who knows? Maybe they're going to pretend that winter was not there yet beyond the wall, or didn't hit him that hard. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, also on it's actually completely Game of Thrones related news. Lena Headey, who plays Cersei Lannister, she announced that she wanted a better death for Cersei. You, me, and everybody else, Lena. You, me, and everybody else. Anyway, moving on. Glow, the TV show, the Netflix TV show Glow, which is about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, just released the trailer for Season 3. Season 3 comes out August 9th. I love that show. It stars Brie Larson? Is that her last name? Yes, Brie Larson from Community. I'm sorry, no. What am I saying? Not Brie Larson. Alison Brie. I'm confusing Alison Brie from Community with Captain Marvel. Sorry, I had her in my head still. Anyway, so it stars Alison Brie. The show is phenomenal. I love it. It is extremely stupid. It's a dramatic comedy. I thoroughly have enjoyed the first 2 seasons. It's really weird. It's set in the 80s, and so they tried their hardest to make Alison Brie look not attractive. It's really weird why they did that, but I mean, it fits her character because she's not supposed to be a looker. She's actually supposed to be kind of That's how they want to make her look like. Meh. But anyway, the show's really funny, and the weird thing is, I found myself at one point kind of like standing on my feet for the excitement of the fight that I'm seeing. Now, this is how ridiculous that is. I'm on my feet cheering like, yeah, go, yeah. I know that wrestling is fake, mostly fake. And I know that I'm watching a TV show, which is also fake. It's not a wrestling TV show. It's a dramatic show. It's not live action. It's it's fiction. I'm watching a fictional show. I know that's fake. And I know the people on the show are pretending to be wrestling. And I know that wrestling is also fake fighting. I know all that stuff. And still, it managed to get me on my feet cheering like, woo! Yeah! It gets you so hyped. It gets you so hyped. I'm very, very much looking forward to the season because apparently, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't watched the show. But point is, show's really good. It's really funny. It has really good dramatic moments. I highly recommend it. But let's moving on. Oh, yeah. Lionsgate has announced that they got the rights for the prequel to The Hunger Games. Now, if you guys remember The Hunger Games, it's kind of the movie that sent Jennifer Lawrence to superstardom. I mean, she was already nominated for an Academy Award before, but this one brought her into mainstream attention and to superstardom and made her a lot of money. Anyway, so Suzanne Collins, who's the author of The Hunger Games, announced that she wrote a prequel to The Hunger Games, and it will be coming out May 19th, 2020. Now, the title has not been released yet, but she did say that the movie will take place 64 years before the events of the trilogy. So she wanted to focus on kind of, if you guys remember, the Hunger Games were created as a response to a war, like punishment for a rebellion, right? And if you remember correctly, in the second movie, Catching Fire, there's a thing called the Quarter Quells, which every 25 years they will do a special event for the Hunger Games. So the revolution, the failed revolution happened 74 years ago, before the events of the Hunger Games. If this will take place 64 years before the events of the trilogy, that means that it'll be 10 years after the revolution failed, which is stupid. Why wouldn't you just write about the revolution? It would be, the problem is that we know how it ends, but it would still be fun to read, watch, a failed revolution. It would be super tragic. It would be kind of like Rogue One. We knew how it was going to end, pretty much. So, I don't know. It could be interesting. The books are really weird. Okay. The first book, I read all the books, by the way. The Hunger Games book, the first one, is really good. It's really enjoyable. Number 2 is kind of dumb, and number 3 is really dumb. So it went downhill hard, and I mean hard. However, the movies, I do think that the second one was the best. I do believe that Catching Fire was the best movie, because the first movie doesn't make the book justice. The second one, it kind of improves on the book. But I don't know if that's just an effect of the first book being so good that the movie was bad, and then the second book being so bad that the movie was good. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, or if just they fixed a lot of the mistakes that were in the book. Because there's a lot of really dumb stuff in that book. There's a lot of stuff that didn't really make any sense, and so they kind of fixed it. They made it more exciting. Anyway, point is, new Hunger Games movies will be coming out, new Hunger Games book. So I'm trying to do the math here. The book comes out May 19th, 2020, and the Lionsgate already has the rights. By the way, Lionsgate made all the previous movies. They already have the rights. I'm guessing the movie won't start production until the book comes out, because you can't pre-produce something that you haven't read. And if the book, you got to write a script for it. I'm going to say, the fun thing here is that they actually could plan out the movie or she could have written the book planning with a movie in mind. So that's one advantage or disadvantage there, because one medium is not the same as the other. I've said that multiple times. Anyway, I'd say we will hear more about this 2022. If I have to guess when it's coming out, I'm going to say 2022. That's being really optimistic. Most likely it's going to be 2023, but I think with the advancements in technology and they want to take advantage of the hype still, I'd go 2022. That's my final guess. Anyway, moving on, and to me, this is the biggest thing that happened, or not necessarily the biggest thing, but the thing that made me the happiest to hear. Director Todd Phillips has confirmed that his Joker movie will be rated R. So, Todd Phillips, yes, I applaud you. Thank you very much. There was no other way to do this. There's no way to make a movie about the Joker that's not rated R. That was the mistake with Suicide Squad. If Suicide Squad would have been rated R and it would have made sense and the story would have been better and the actor would have been better, it would have been phenomenal. However, it was not any of those things, and that's why it sucked. But no, I like this trend of making superhero movies rated R, okay? DC, let fucking Disney have all the PG-13 stuff. Just let them. Let them have it. You go for the rated R. Rated R is great. Rated R is phenomenal. There's been a lot of success with rated R. Logan is a great example of that. Deadpool is a great example of that. So go for the rated R, especially with characters that deserve it. For example, I understand why you wouldn't want to make a Superman rated R movie. I understand that one. But the Joker, yes, definitely rated R. Good on you. Now, this brings back another interesting question of how the hell the whole DC universe is going to tie up together. Is this Joker going to be a part of the DC universe? I don't see how. Because he's going to be played by Joaquin Phoenix, who's a phenomenal actor, one of the best actors working today. Maybe the best. I don't think so. But you could argue it. It'd be a good argument. And yeah, it's actually a really good argument. He might be the best actor working today. Oh, let me think of that. To me, it's easier. It's easy. The best actor working today who hasn't won an Oscar is Michael Fassbender. But Joaquin Phoenix does have an Oscar, so he's not in that category anymore. I'm going to have to think about this. That might be an interesting topic for another day. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so the movie starts Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is no spring chicken. The dude's kind of old. So I could see maybe the Batman movie tying in with the Joker movie because Ben Affleck's also kind of old. So if you got an old Batman and an old Joker, makes sense. But now they're switching to a younger Batman and it's going to be a standalone trilogy, but the DCEU is doing kind of well. I mean, it did well with Shazam, it did well with Aquaman, it did well with Wonder Woman, and another Wonder Woman's coming out. I don't know. DC Universe is a mess, okay? Somebody needs to be a grown-up and put all the freaking ducks in a row there, because they're fucking up left and right. You just need to just go there and make sense of things. Now, Marvel's side is also kind of a mess, but I don't blame Marvel because the Disney stuff is kind of okay. It's mostly okay. It's mostly in order. It's the X-Men side of things that sucked. It's the freaking Fantastic Four. It's everything else. It's Ghost Rider. It's everything else that's not under the Disney flag that's just completely a mess and doesn't tie into anything. But that's it. To me, that's the biggest news. It was a big concern for me for this movie that they had not confirmed that it was going to be rated R. It had to be rated R. It will be rated R. Good on you, Todd Phillips. Thank you for making that happen. Anyway, that's it for today. That's it for today. Those are the biggest things. There was a bunch of other small stuff, but it was a very heavy E3 week last week, and most of their stuff is just like, oh, well, this actor is going to do this actor is going to do that. Yeah, show me teasers. Show me something other than that. Unless there's some meat to it, for example, the Game of Thrones things, there's meat to that story because it gives us hints of how it's going to look like or all that stuff. You know, the crazy thing is that this pilot, we might not even see it. It might not even get done because the pilot would suck. I don't know. Hopefully not. I'm still not ready to give up Westeros yet. And I like that George R. R. Martin will be directly involved in that one. I only don't like that George R. R. Martin will be directly involved because he should be finishing the other fucking books. Anyway, that's it for today. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions? I'm sure I missed stuff. I'm sure I missed a lot of stuff. So if there's anything you want me to talk about, hit me up at Dario the Show on Instagram. Comments, questions, or suggestions. And that's it for today. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.